I want to bring in American Exploration and Production Council CEO Anne Bradbury. The AXPC is a national trade association representing the leading independent oil and natural gas companies in the United States. Additionally, the expectation is, you remember, Joe Biden, who we now learn from Speaker Mike Johnson doesn't remember doing this, actually banned LNG exports to our allies in Western Europe. They were forced to go and get energy from Russia. That's where they have been. Now Donald Trump is saying we're going to get that starting again.
That's right. Good morning, Cheryl. It's great to be with you. On day one, President Trump signed a number of executive orders after hearing very clearly from the American people that affordable and reliable energy is critical. And these executive orders are going to do a number of things to help permit energy infrastructure, to help provide a more stable regulatory environment to support more American energy production.
So this, obviously your members are bullish. How quickly, though, can we get these projects going so that we have more drilling, more production here in the United States? And have these companies been preparing for this since November 5th?
Absolutely. So first, it's important to remember that since post-COVID, American energy producers have added almost half of all the new barrels onto the global marketplace. So we have been doing our part to keep prices low and stable in the global marketplace. And prices are a complex set of factors related to supply and demand, but policy is one of those really important factors. And good policy can help make production more cost-effective, more efficient, to help support more efficient, productive, and support more supply in the global marketplace.
Excuse me. So you sent letters to the Energy Department, and you also sent letters to the Interior Department, the EPA. Talk about the EPA part of this, because that's where I think the rubber's going to meet the road and where there has to be fast change.
That's a great point. EPA is absolutely central to this. So first, let me say that President Trump's energy nominees, between Governor Burgum, Lee Zeldin at EPA, Chris Wright at the Department of Energy, he couldn't have picked three more qualified and impressive individuals who know the energy industry and who, most importantly, understand the role of American energy leadership in the world. When it comes to the EPA, what we're seeking is a durable, common sense regulatory framework. Let's take emissions regulations, for example, that provide a great deal of certainty and cost-effective framework for emissions reductions, while still ensuring that American producers will continue to reduce emissions and lead the world in innovation.
But the other hurdle is going to be at the state level. How do you negotiate that? You can make change at the federal level, but when you have states like California, where Donald Trump is actually going today, President Trump is going to be going, that's where I'm thinking that there could be issues.
Certainly. Well, federal policy is where it all starts. And so reasonable and sensible policy at the federal level will be important to trickle down to undo some less impactful state policies. And so as we look to agencies like the Department of Energy and the LNG pause, to the Department of Interior and the federal lands activities that we've seen over the last several years, and the Department and the EPA with the emissions regulations, bringing sanity back to those regulatory policies will be incredibly impactful moving forward.
One of the things, obviously that Davos address yesterday, he talked about energy production and oil. One of the things that he said was, I want to see oil prices down, but that was a shot at OPEC plus, really, if you think about it. So do you think that conversation, when he does in fact sit down with, say, the Saudis, with other members of OPEC, do you think that they're going to see more pressure on oil prices because of that, in addition to domestic drilling that we're talking about?
Yep, it's a great question. So first, again, America's done its part to keep prices low and stable. We now produce more oil than any country in the history of the world, and 50% of all the new barrels that have been added post-COVID have been American barrels. I think what President Trump is seeing and recognizing is that demand for energy is continuing to go up. The EIA estimates that by 2050, you're going to see a 20% increase in oil demand. And it's going to be really important that producers continue to increase production to meet that growing demand.
What about Iran, though, Anne? That's the big question. You know, we saw under the Biden administration for 4 years sanctions on Iran that were not enforced. And they have used the profits from that, obviously, to wage war against the Israelis. Final word.
That's exactly right. That's why it's so important that American leads in energy production, because if we are not producing this oil, that other countries whose interests run counter to America's will.
All right. Anne Bradbury, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it's got to be exciting times for the industry, for you and your members, knowing that they can get to work. And, you know,
Absolutely.
drill, baby, drill. I had to say it. Anne, thank you. All
Thanks,
right.
Cheryl.